You guys. Hey, you guys! It's a surprise interview. Come on, come hang out with us. Should we play a little music to come hang? Now, Edgard, I'm going to. You'll see. What I'm going to do is we're going to see who's coming to hang with us. We're going to go to my page now. Edagard Scissorhands in my house. Urban Eve, he's doing some Urban Eve training. He came in about an hour ago or so, and we were chatting in my kitchen. I said, Edgard, you got to come and say hi to him. Give it up for this guy, will you guys?
That's awesome. Thank you, Michael. That was a great introduction.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna go to my page just to see who's in my house. So we'll wait. Whoop. If I touch things too quickly, it won't. So anyway, I wanted him to come in and really he's doing some really cool stuff, and as he was catching me up on everything, I said let's go live. So I want to see who's in my house first, and let me see. So you can. Here we go. Okay, maybe the Wi-Fi got. You
Right
see, there
there.
we are. There. Watch it. So they're going to be showing up. Emily Kleemer, look who's here.
Hey,
Edgar, do you know Emily?
I do not
She
actually.
she's a Summit Salon owner in Las Vegas, and she was in town for
I
some
know
training.
Lynn Wenzel. She's taught a class for us before.
Yeah, Lynn's in, and Paige Cruzlow. She's one of Jetta. Paige, look who's in my studio. Edgar Scissorhands, give it up for him, will you guys? There's Jill Wilson, Marty Van Wagner. He's a salon consultant. So all of our buddies, Summer Wilson. So they'll be joining us. This is a surprise interview. We're kind of a homegrown encore, but then he's going to come back in June and we'll do like a 20-minute. But he was in and we were upstairs and he was catching me up. It's been a long time since he was in. You were what, 2 years ago when you were?
It was 2 years, yeah, I think so.
He was anyway. He was 22 then, and now he's 24,
Yeah, I'm old now. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'm just
and
joking.
he's crushing it. He's a level four, and sometimes 4A.
Well, four, depending on which month, I'm 4A.
And when you were on, you were level two.
I was level 2, yeah. So I was trying to grow.
And I don't want to tip his hand because what we earn behind the chair, it's not secret, but it's sacred. But let's put it this way: I think you're going to be assaulting the six-figure Rubicon
That's like
this year.
my goal this year. It's like to make 6 figures.
So he's on it, and he's 1 month into it, and I just love him to death. And anyway, you and I were chatting, and one of the things you said to me was a year ago, 2 years ago, however you were planning your photo shoots, which is like a very big part of your chairside manner, it's changed up now.
Hmm.
It's getting harder and harder to find the time, which a lot of people that watch are going, yeah, like how's he do that? So, in a nutshell, tell the world what you told me.
So basically, what I was telling Michael Cole is that whenever you know a client's going to come in and it's going to be like a huge service, like it's going to be a balayage or baby lights or something that you can take a really good photograph of, like just kind of block an extra 15 minutes off. Call them and tell them, hey, can you come in 15 minutes beforehand, or move your next client 15 minutes later, but kind of do that maybe 3 days in advance or 4 days in advance, so that you can kind of have that set up. So you just pre-plan your day, you pre-plan your week, how you would do with your planner or with your numbers and all of that.
You
So
guys hear that? I mean, what he was telling me is now he's planning. He's got to plan differently because he doesn't have the wiggle room. He doesn't have the time to do photo shoots. So on the front end of the week, you'll
Mhm.
actually go through who's booked with you and go, depending on who they are and how creative the work's going to be. If you go, okay, it looks like this is going to be a photo shoot, you'll get a hold of them and say
Mhm.
either come in 15 minutes early
Yeah.
or 15 minutes on the back end. And how do you get that handled? Through texting, call?
I usually, well, a great thing about this is that a lot of my clients do follow me on social media. So by that time, like I can just like look their name up on Instagram, and it's usually always them. And I'm like, hey, I saw you have an appointment. Is it okay if we can like, maybe come in 15 minutes extra or something of that sort? And they're always cool with it, especially if they know they're going to be getting like pictures taken at the end.
And then while he was in, we've got his Instagram page up. If you guys aren't following him, Edgard Scissorhands, because he's doing some things. I mean, look at this. Him and I were chatting. Look at that pattern. 15 pieces of work. And here's a shot here of him. It's personal, but it's really tied into your art. These are all, I don't know, when you do a balayage like this, what would be a typical charge for that service?
So, for example, all of these would be considered balayage, even if I'm going in there and highlighting. I will still just basically, how I make a lot of that money up is by the add-on colors that we're using.
Yeah.
So the base price is always going to be around 158. But every single time I mix extra, it's going to be more and more and more, which usually my tickets do end up pretty high. My
Yeah.
goal every single time is for my tickets to always be 150, regardless of whatever it is.
Right. So these are, I'm going to call it triple digit looks, right? You're like real conscious that I want to really, when I'm out in the world, and you guys know that when I'm out teaching the classes, I'm Edagard is one of the people that I'm pulling up and I'm going, look, when you guys look at this, what you see is beautiful hair, as do I. But these are $150, $175 tickets. So when guests come in and ask for this, they're committed to you.
Yeah, for sure, 110%. Yeah, I believe that 110% too. Like I said, sorry, I keep repeating myself. But what I did want to talk about really quick, Michael, is if you go up really quick, our industry is kind of changing, and now since like we don't have that much wiggle room either, it's really good and it's really important to kind of make your pictures a little bit more kind of iconic, I guess you can say. You can add like like your little hair accessories on the hair, and it kind of makes them stand out compared to like your competition. I feel like that's helped me out too.
So it's subtle, but it's profound. So like a year ago or 2 years ago, you didn't have this element in your branding. So now accessories, it looks like, where you're putting. Now, is this done in editing, or is
No,
this?
that's like actual like little things that you can buy at Michael's. A good thing we have a boutique in our salon, so a lot of these hair accessories are actually sold in our boutique. So sometimes the people were like, "Hey, where did you get those hair accessories?" And I'm like, "Oh, we have them in our boutique," and it also gets them kind of started with that.
I love it. Now, he didn't tell me that, so this is huge. This is what he's doing now compared to what you were doing, 18 months ago when I had you on for an interview. Now, I want you to talk about highlights because I'm not seeing anyone take advantage of the Instagram highlights to the degree that you are. So there's a couple I want to zoom in on. This processing one, talk about what that is.
So basically what that for me would be is just it gets the client educated on what the process of it, how it goes whenever they're in the chair, and it shows them like what you do behind the chair too. It's just like processing time.
And then it sounds like this is what you're taking advantage of, basically the Instagram, story little features of where you're bringing in animated to give it, make it more viewer friendly. I love, and this is apparently this is promoting. It's almost like you're doing a tutorial for your guests to watch about if you're gonna sign up for this ride. This is what you can expect. When would your guests be watching this? Before they come in, or do they putz around with this while they're processing, gives them something to do?
So the clients usually have already watched most of this. Literally, if you follow me on Instagram, you already know kind of what you're getting yourself into based on a lot of what I do. Like you'll know I'll have foils for you, like colorful foils, and you'll know that like you're probably going to get like some kind of awesome look. Also, one of these things, you see the location mark right there?
Yes.
It's super important to kind of always have a location because it really it gets around your area. It gets like people more concentrated on you, and they'll want to go to you. Does that make sense? Like it's just like your exposure around the area becomes bigger if you do have a tag location.
I love it. Now, the other Instagram highlight that I show a lot is your how-to video, and anywhere I go in the world, when I can, what I absolutely love about this is it looks like you got probably 20 frames. Now this is how you created this, and you're tying in product. Tap to hold, I'm holding it, so they can admire it, and then when I'm untapped, the next click, you're showing what you did to create that look and what people are using. Does this help you in talking about the retail part.
Well, actually, it does help me. Whenever I started doing this is whenever I made my biggest jump from level 3 to level 4 with retail sales, because you know you have to meet some of those numbers. And in order for me to jump to that, like I needed to get the conversation started for retail. And I promise you, if I went back and just like kind of redid everything, I would probably be hitting all of my numbers with retail.
I love it. Now, one last thing, and then I'm teasing you guys because we just booked him for June. I think it's the first Thursday in June.
June
We're going to
6th,
have him.
yeah.
We're going to have
June
him back
6th.
for an interview. Now, before we say goodbye, though, you and I were chatting, and we were just kind of thinking through, like in a typical week, 8 photo shoots, 10 photo shoots. But this idea, I asked him. I said, so how many times, if you did 8 guest photo shoots, would you actually see the pictures reposted on the guest page? And we had this really interesting conversation, and we were both like getting inspired about that. What did you think about that?
I thought that was great because I never really realized how much my clients actually do repost their work, like the work that I did, or how much I actually do go back and engage with them. Like it went over my head. It just came to me like as a natural thing. And then whenever he pointed it out, I was like, I really should be way more intentional about that.
So you guys, because we're talking more and more now about getting your content on your guest page. Ed had been doing this. He's even commenting on that, but he was doing it intuitively. And as we talked about it, he was getting more conscious about what that is, so that when he goes back and re-engages in that practice, he does it with more intentionality. We were talking that probably when that content gets on a guest page, you're going to get more referrals from the followers of that guest than if that content just shows up on either your page and or the Salon's page. So that's real big. We're going to talk about it more. I'm not going to give you any more content. I want to tease him because he's coming back in June. So thank you very much,
No,
my
you're
friend,
totally
for coming
welcome.
and hanging out with me. He's here to do a class for even Urban Eve training. And he's in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota.
I know, Minnesota for real. This is my first time
Look,
stepping in snow.
this is the Cody War.
Yeah, this is actually really
And
fun.
he says he gets off the plane and he's stepping on snow for the first time. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of history
Frozen
today.
sea,
We're
yes.
making history. He's at my house. He's in Minnesota. So at any rate, I love you and can't wait for you to come back.
Yes, great.
All right. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.